AEW. So we're back onto AEW Full Gear, which is on the weekend, and this it was
Do you
very.
got to knock AEW so much?
Well, you're
I'm
going to
gonna tell
knock
you
it. I'm just going to
this.
tee it up. You knock him.
Oh, okay.
Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. There was a move. I sent you this move. Tell us what happened.
The move. Oh, it was the pile driver on top of the steel steps, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and he covered him. Guess what? One, two. Oh, he kicks out. See, now I want to tell the talent something. Guys, if you're going to, you don't see that much. So if you're going to do it, I mean, either have that to be your finish, don't use it as a high spot. Because now the next guy that does it, kicks out. Now it becomes an ordinary move, and it shouldn't be done. Of course, it's not my place to tell them. I mean, that should be
Common sense.
basic knowledge. Yes. So and it looked pretty good too. So he's up there and he put him down on it. And he went down 1, 2, and he kicks out. Now, who was kicking out on this? Who?
Will Ospreay kicked out.
Will Ospreay. Now I know that Will Ospreay is like their superstar, I guess, right now. But
Who you just
I
lost to
think they
clean
just
as
go.
well. You lost to Kyle Fletcher clean at the end.
And what beat him?
Oh, I'd have to look. I can't remember. It was only
Well,
5 days ago, and I completely forgot.
well, hey, it's called dementia.
Mm. I had to
Hey, ride
apologise
with
to you.
some. You had to apologize to me.
Yeah, because you sent me an email and it had something interesting, and I just must have read it, and I just completely forgot I'd read it and just did something else instead. So never responded to you.
See, you're too much. See, folks, this is what I deal with on a weekly basis. I deal with James's dementia, and but James is really good at remembering things that I've talked about. And when I bring something up, he said, "Oh, we've already talked about that." Oh, okay, because he's never wrong about that, and I may have talked about it. So
Here's the move that beat Will eventually. It was a brainbuster on the top rope turnbuckle. So apparently that's worse than the tombstone on the steps. Okay, I know this is more of an AEW problem than
are we going to
WWE.
see? Are we going to see that?
Nah, I might B-roll it in. We'll see how it goes. But you've seen it. I've seen it. Everyone's probably seen it. Here's the thing. A week beforehand, Kevin Owens hit Randy Orton with the worst-looking pile driver, maybe the second worst-looking pile driver in history, apart from that one that The Undertaker did on Hulk Hogan, and was like, a yawning chasm of space between his head and the ring. It could not have
You're
come
not
with a
supposed.
foot.
No, you're not. You broke all the rules between fans and belief. I know there was this much space between the head and the mat, but you're not supposed to see that. It wasn't his neck so much. It was that area that his head kept going, and it stretched his neck. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you got me, brother.
like it
Come
says,
on, my wife and kids.
the faith shall live by belief alone.
Mm.
I took a little bit of a biblical statement and turned it into a wrestling statement. So, and you're not supposed to believe everything anyway. It's the story. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Continue on.
I was going to say, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, they did the second worst pile driver in history, and that was an injury angle. And then they found some good angles and shot it and replayed it, and it looked great. And that was just a basic pile driver on a ring canvas, whereas this one is a jumping pile driver's tombstones never look good anyway, unless it's like through a table. Because you sort of have to be really careful on your knees, so you go and you bunny hop and sort of land really gingerly. But
Hey, I've had the pile driver. I've taken it a time or two. It is kind of a little bit scary because you are really seriously, you're upside down. You're totally at his mercy. Because if your head's there and it hits first, you could get hurt badly. It happened to Owen Hart. It happened to Stone Cold, And who was the guy that was out all that time? He was out forever. What was his name? He was I think a football player.
This
I
isn't
can't
in
remember
wrestling.
his name. Oh yeah, it happened in wrestling.
God, I don't know. I know Austin.
He was paralyzed.
Chono.
He was paralyzed from it.
Well,
See, it used to be
my mind's got blank.
It used to in wrestling. It used to be you just made it look good, but it wasn't. Now they just beat the hell. Not only does it look good, they actually put it on you, and then you're just supposed to sell it. Crazy.
Who was the safest? Who was the safest with the pile driver with you?
It had to be the safest guy with it, because he had to be, was Taker. Taker really took it. He took care of everybody, because that was his deal.
Tell that Coco beware. Dropped him right on his head. Like when he first got into the WWF, he was dropping people on their head like nothing else.
Who's this? Coco?
No, Undertaker was dropping people on their head
Undertaker.
for the first 2 months.
Really? Oh, well, he didn't know how to do it. He was learning. That's why Coco.
I know. He was 6'3" before that Tombstone.
But let me say this: after the first 6 weeks, then they finally says, "Mark, come here. We're going to show you how to do this. Pick him up higher, like on his back, and so now, unless he's got a neck like a giraffe, and put him down." And then, of course, they had the cameraman and the truck. As soon as he hit, they would shift the angles, but sometimes they didn't shift the angles, and you could see the head came nowhere close to the mat. That's when you need a Gordon Soley to explain, wow, the neck sometimes can continue to to travel on its own merit to the mat. And you say that enough, people said, yeah, that kind of makes sense, if you listen to it. That's why having a good announcer is always the key. Jim Ross was good at that too.
Very briefly, did you see the end of AEW's Full Gear show? Because here's the thing: John Moxley, who's the leader of the Death Riders now, instead of the Blackpool Combat Club, then defeated Orange Cassidy with his move called the Death Rider. So I'm thinking, have you ever heard of Living in a Box? There was a band called Living in a Box with a song called Living in a Box from the album
Living in a Box.
Yeah,
Living in a Box. Never heard of it.
Well, Black Sabbath from Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath.
Yeah, I've heard.
If John Moxley calls himself Death Rider, I think we've got something going on that.
Let's see. Okay, so I did see that long drawn out finish.
Yeah, what was that about? There was a lot of things that happened. I'm not quite sure any of them did.
Well, I don't know. They're just all tied into the same angle. I kind of enjoyed it, especially the car wreck. Boom. I don't know why that happened, but then he went to beat the car up. Now, what's that got to do? Won't he beat up who he's mad at? And now he beat up his own car. I don't get it. But it made for decent TV.